let's look at this Belichick situation. Belichick, to me, this is Stephen A. Smith said this is beneath him. I don't agree with that, because I feel like this is a situation that he can literally how he's talking about he wants to turn North Carolina into a feeding ground.
You're pretty much a farm for the NFL.
Right. And like how IMG is like a feeding ground for college, he wants to become. So he's talking about bringing in the top nutritionists. He's going to have a general manager. Like people like, yo, I can't see Belichick recruiting. He don't have to. You got NIL. You're going to have a general manager who his job is to fly around the country and make. Because it's not about telling somebody, yo, you're going to get a good education now. It's about telling somebody this is how much money I can pay you.
Yeah.
And you're going to
and here's how much you can make after the fact once you leave from me.
Because you're going to be playing for the greatest coach of all time, and he's going to prepare you more than any other coach can ever prepare you. And what other coach in the history of football is better prepared to prepare somebody for the NFL than Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I agree. Who did Bill piss off? When I saw this, a good business lesson: go to where you can be a king. So he'll be there for eternity. I think he worked something in for his son to be there as well. I love. But I'm really surprised he didn't get a job in the NFL.
Well, I think the NFL looked at him like, he was always kind of a standoffish guy. His way or the highway. You got to realize he's the guy that got Tom Brady out.
Yep.
He convinced Robert Kraft that Tom Brady needed to leave.
Oh, Rob made them calls. Okay, got you.
So, they said Robert Kraft actually did speak to the owner of Atlanta,
Arthur Blank.
Arthur Blank. They said that allegedly Arthur called Robert Kraft and asked him about Belichick like a year ago, 2 years ago, and he told them like, "Nah,
no,
don't. It's not a good idea." So I feel, and he's 77 years old. So the NFL is not a lot of upside, right? I don't think the NFL doesn't look at him as like an upside. They look at him like, you gotta deal with the bullshit. You gotta deal with his attitude. He's almost 80 years old. Like, nah, we're not doing that.
And if him and that young guy's girl break up, he got a nicer place to recruit, ain't it? Bill, I know I've been tough on you. I'm proud of you for this move. You and Tomas been getting along better. Brady gonna come and throw a couple spirals to some guys out there and help out your efforts. Not mad at it. Not mad at it. Well played. Need to get equity though.
In North Carolina University?
If I'm going to turn y'all from what y'all are now into a farm for the NFL, what is that going to do to college admissions? I remember freshman year when shout out to AJ Moye and shit, they went to the Final Four. Just what he told me what his jersey sales were that year, that made me look at college basketball dramatically different. If in 5 years they're a top 15 school, shout out to Indiana University, the coach of the year, he's going to turn that shit into a powerhouse. I need something. Give me a percentage of the popcorn. I need equity in something.
He's definitely going to turn this thing around. It's just a matter of how quick. And the thing too, how college is becoming like the pros is the transfer portal. So now it's like previously you had to wait 3 years to actually implement your system, let the other players play. Like that's Deion changed all of this, and transfer portal changed all of this, where you can turn the program around in 1 year. You could turn a program around in 1 year, 2 years. You at a whole different level, and that's exactly what Deion Sanders did. He turned the program around last year, even though they had a losing record. He turned the program around, and this year they one of the best teams in the country. And he brought the players with him, but he aggressively pushed players to leave. That's the first thing that Deion did. He aggressively pushed them to leave. Like I think like 50 players transferred as soon as he got there because he told them like, "Yo, this ain't the place for you. Leave."
Yeah.
Then he aggressively transferred other players in.
Yep. Import the work.
The two best players. He people don't look at it like that because they came with him, but those are transfer players. Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are they're transfer portal players.
Yes.
He took the two best players in the country. They're going to be number 1 and number 2 draft picks.
Yep.
And that quickly he changed. So I say that to say Bill Belichick, I don't think it's going to take a long time. They're already saying that the top quarterback of like next year's high school class is already talking to Belichick because he's like he's interested in hearing what he wants to say. So I think Belichick is going to turn his program around in 2 seasons.
And then on top of that, people have to remember he's a hell of a defensive mind. So all the added defensive players he's going to get, he's going to have that place rocking. Jersey sales going to be through the roof. It's interesting, but the business lesson in this: go to where you can be a king.
And what's more appealing though? College is becoming the new NFL because you got Deion Sanders, he's a personality. You got Bill Belichick, he's a personality. Like, so it's getting to the point where the players are getting millions of dollars collected from the NIL deal. It's only going to keep growing. They're able to transfer at any given moment whenever they want. So from a perspective of college, you can just curate your team how you want it. You can't do that in the NFL, right? Like you can't just. It's so many different variables. So college, you can get a bag together.
Yeah.
Like they were saying that Saudi was trying to put the bag together. So it's like who's gonna have the first 100? I think Texas has the biggest NIL collective. See, the NIL collectives are interesting because this is a business conversation. When NIL started, it was name, image, and likeness, right? So it was supposed to be like, this is the first opportunity for players to actually get paid. And it's interesting because shout out to Booker from Arizona, and there's a bunch of people went to jail 18 months in the federal penitentiary for paying players, and 22 months later it's legal. Same thing with marijuana. They always do this.
Always.
So it's like NIL was created for players to get endorsement deals, right? So it's like, okay, Red Panda wants to sponsor X, Y, and Z player. You can pay them $100,000, and now they can do social media commercials for Red Panda, right? But these guys get smart and they figure out a way around it, where they can have the NIL collective. Where NIL collective is just a bunch of people. So let's just say me, you, Troy, whatever, right? We just come together and we just put $1 million into a pot, and we pick a school, say St. John's University, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now we have a company, and that's the collective, and now we're going to sponsor X, Y, and Z player. Not really. We're not endorsing. They don't have any endorsement deals or anything. But it's just outside money that's pulled together to give. So now it's just a way to legally pay players. Has nothing to do with endorsement deals. Has nothing to do with anything
at all.
And that's when John Calipari came to Arkansas. They put together a $5 million collective because now you got a lot of rich people that are alumni of these different schools. That want to see their school. So Texas, I think that the NIL collective is 20 million. That's just the collective, let alone how much the players are getting from if they can get an individual Nike deal. And now they start talking about the next level is revenue share from schools. That hasn't happened yet, but they said that's the next thing that's going to happen is revenue share from schools. So now you start to get a percentage of ticket sales and a percentage of the revenue that the TV deals that so. These players are going to be starting getting the same. They're going to make the same amount of money as pros.
I was going to ask you, I'll assume before somebody in college makes $20 million a year.
It's coming. It's coming. Like I said, if this kid can make $7 million a year from BYU, that's just the NIL collective.
Yeah.
Who knows how much he can get from if he gets beat by Dre or if he gets by Nike? He could easily get $10 million. He could easily be making $10 million, right? And this is. Now, what it also does is allow schools to accelerate. So it's like a BYU is never going to be wasn't like a Duke or so, but now they can quickly accelerate that, put a bag of money, and then become the best team in the nation quickly.
How soon before you think Tech builds a collective? I can see Instagram or Meta sponsoring the school for 10 years.
For sure. Or like we said last week, when the dudes actually buy,
yes,
it's 51% of the team. So it's not even about a sponsorship no more. Now we actually just own the team.
This is getting really interesting. And it's the last big major sports asset that has not been fully acquired.
Yeah, and it's for cheaper than you. Like it's hard to become an NFL owner. It's hard to become an NBA owner, right? So, but you can get in this. There's a lower barrier entry, and there's more teams. There's 300, 200 Division I teams.
Yeah.
So
the fan bases are way more loyal.
Yep.
Way more loyal. It's interesting.
I just wonder at what point do they just the school part? Like, at what point does the school part just go away? Like, okay, we know that you going to BYU because he's getting paid already in high school. So
Yeah.
you're going to BYU for $7 million, right? And we know that you're only staying for 6 months because you're leaving right after the season is over. So at what point do they just have different situations for athletes where you don't got to go to school? You can represent our school without being a student because this whole student athlete thing is stupid at this
Oh
point.
yeah. It's coming soon. And I can see a company getting some of the lifetime earnings when they go to a pro league. It's coming. It is coming. Like I can see 2K doing this for a school. It's a few. I won't name too many, but I definitely can see Meta for sure. And that's the demo too. Instagram sponsor school. Boy, Liddy. It's interesting. We gotta put our bid in.
That's a fact. What would be really cool is if some of the people come together and just pick a HBCU and just like, okay, Howard, we're gonna give you $20 million for your NIL collective, and y'all gonna become the number one team in the country overnight because now you got $20 million to pay the top players.
I'm down. Let's put it together. That would be legendary. It's needed.
Right? I mean, what's stopping it? It's just a matter of just funneling the money. But
Yeah,
if Howard right now gets $10 million or $20 million, I mean, players are gonna go where they're gonna get paid.
absolutely.
It's not like, I'm gonna go to like Belichick has an advantage because he's a legend, but he still got to pay players. Like
Yeah,
Deion still has to pay players. Don't get it twisted. They're not just going to play for Coach Prime just because he's Coach Prime. So if the number one basketball player in the country gets offered $8 million from Howard, he's going to Howard.
BlackRock could come right in and put 20 million at Duke. Immediately. Y'all thought they bought up crypto fast? Oh boy. Let the number one player in the nation go to Clark Atlanta. Man, BlackRock gonna come in and crush the fucking building. 33 million a year. Cool.